first saw this announcement, I was a little perplexed, but somehow not surprised. Of course, it's more of the same old, so I don't just want to come on here and just echo me being just mad at it because it's kind of redundant or like why this is stupid, because we already know it is, but rather I want to come at it from a little bit more of a constructive angle, because maybe the people of these studios are really that dumb that they literally don't get why doing this is bad for their business and bad for us as the audience. While I personally lack any excitement for Marvel's upcoming releases, and I know many share the sentiment, I believe it's still important to express our views. Without pushback, these studios are probably interpreting our silence as approval, despite the evident financial hemorrhaging that they're experiencing. I didn't realize that there was a better way to explain that the audience doesn't want something than us not giving them money. But maybe, you know what, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and just say that they're very stupid and they just think that enough eyes are not seeing their products. So here's why, if this is true, it's a bad idea to market Marvel's MCU X-Men reboot as female focused. Also, prefaces, I don't remember, I could be wrong, but I don't remember anything being marketed in Marvel as being male focused, which is ironic given that the entire franchise is predominantly consumed by male audiences. It is what it is, and just like women seem to have a very strong hankering for serial killers and the morbid crime drama you'll see in rom-coms, and men like light-hearted superhero stuff with dark backstories and people overcoming trials and whatnot. Females happen to as well, but it is a predominantly male space, and there is nothing wrong with that. I don't know why people feel threatened by this. I can speak for a lot of females that I know, and we can tell you we don't feel threatened by it. There are quite a few of us that are not girly girls, and we enjoy things that guys happen to enjoy too, and that is fine. We don't need you to market it for us, because if we wanted it that way, and oh shocker, we wouldn't be consuming it as is, right? Like, us females watch the stuff because it's already good the way it is. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be consuming it as women. So, I don't know. I just don't know why these studios feel as though they need to make it more female-centric in order to bring in the female audience when you've seen from your track record that shit does not work. So, the Screen Geek article mentions the X-Men rumor was shared via insider Daniel Reichman. As with all rumors, it should be taken with a grain of salt, and it's not exactly a far-fetched decision. After all, the MCU is actively trying to be more diverse, and Kevin Feige reportedly wants this X-Men movie to stand out from previous entries. Maybe I'm missing something, but didn't the X-Men always have women? What is Storm and Jean Grey and Rogue? What is Mystique? Jubilee? I'm trying not to laugh, because it's genuinely perplexing to me. It's so stupid. It's making me feel like I'm getting stupider just trying to figure out if this is a joke or not. I know this is a very triggering question nowadays, but are those X-Men I just mentioned not women? Just taking a glance in Google with minimal research, you can see that even from the 60s, there have been women in X-Men. Jean Grey, didn't know this, just looked it up. No, one click away, right? Isn't that cool? She was the first woman in the original X-Men from the issue 1 in September 1963. That is freaking old. And when it comes to the comics, the X-Men are said to be very gender balanced as a team. So with it either being 50-50 or slightly more female. That's what people are saying that read the comics. Even if it were not, we've always had X-Men in the modern and slightly older movies that were women. So what is even the point of this? I take this alleged rumor to mean that it's going to be all about women, because if the X-Men was previously gender diverse, like already, and now they're making a point of focusing on women, then they're clearly going to be placing the focus on people's genders rather than the characters.
And by the way, the women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to X-Women.
Are you fucking...
Like this irate individual who says, superhero teams prove positive that women are at most 25% of the human population. Of course, there's a little tongue-in-cheek sarcasm there, obviously. It sets the tone for the rest of the article. He goes on to saying, oh, I love a good superhero movie. It's just a shame that I've never seen one. Really? Never? This already tells me everything I need to know, which is that this person most likely is the type of person that doesn't like superhero movies, because if you can't find one superhero movie that's good out of the long list of superhero movies that we have, like Deadpool, Unbreakable, all the Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, even the superhero movies that you wouldn't see as superhero movies, like the ones with demigods and Odin and whatnot, I'm not saying that every single one of these popular superhero movies are the epitome of cinematography, but many people can agree that at least several of these are considered to be good superhero movies. And we're just talking about movies, not shows. Anyway, Damien, the author, continues by saying, "We're holding out hope for Guardians of the Galaxy. It seems no matter how often Hollywood suckers with a compelling trailer that capitalizes on the emotional clout of a catchy pop song, we're always ready to fall for that old trick again. Every new superhero movie is the one we've been waiting for, right up until the disappointment of actually watching the full 120 odd minutes of cliches, in-jokes, and geek wank fantasy. But the thing we can rely on every superhero movie for is a balanced and accurate portrayal of gender. Here, have some Avengers." And then he goes on to bitching how some of the portrayals happen to have more men than women. By his own logic of saying that our IRL statistics put women at least 50-50 with men to even outpopulating men, doesn't that mean that men need to be more represented? But let's just say that he cares more about what's in between people's legs being on screen and wants an accurate representation of the real world. Is he going to keep that same energy for the United States ethnic minorities, respectively? Is he going to keep that same energy for women being less risk-averse, regardless of them having superpowers? At the core, the superheroes are still women, and women don't take as many risks as men. A lot of these superheroes that have superpowers still have some sort of weakness. And I'm not saying that men are selfish and them going out there and fighting bad guys, it means they're purposely putting their families at risk, but that is one of the things that happens. As a matter of fact, some of these cases where these people even get their superpowers in the first place, a lot of them are accidents, but they're in situations where that happens because it was more risky. I'm just saying. But many of these women typically have families and children, and women tend to avoid putting themselves in situations where they become targets of violence because, you know, women already have to deal with that. It is what it is. They're more prone to being predated upon. So couple that with how women are built, it makes sense that women are less risk takers. Even with superpowers, there are villains with powers that can pose a serious threat. While superhero women will step up when needed, when faced with a choice between staying with their kids to ensure their safety or going out to confront ruthless supervillains, even if they don't have kids, I'm guessing most women would likely opt for the former. Like, I can go out there and get my ass beat, or my body's banging, I can go out and just use my superpowers to make myself more comfortable. Just saying, considering, you know, the whole draft thing and women not wanting. Anyways, now, of course, this all comes down to what kind of superpowers they have. You can have a woman that has a superpower that will level the playing field with a man that has a weaker superpower. And of course it would help. And there could be cases in the universe where women can be the ones with the superpower only or have the stronger superpower than their male counterparts. So I'll concede there that there would be better representation if you really care more about that. However, let's go back to the demographic of people who consume superhero media. So here's an excerpt. In a survey led in April 2023, Americans were asked how interested they were in watching superhero movies. In response, 68% of male respondents said they were very or somewhat interested in watching superhero movies. However, 16% among them were not at all interested in watching these films. On the other hand, 45% of surveyed women expressed interest in watching superhero-based movies. So, if you have a product that's predominantly targeted towards men, why would you have more females unless the story is specifically about that? I mean, consider rom-coms and female-targeted movies and shows. Most of the time, you'll have the character from the female's perspective, and she has girlfriends, or if it's a girls' night out type of movie, all the characters are girls. Men are not going to be like, oh my god, we need more representation because there's too many women in this cast in the movie that's targeted towards women. Ugh. Also, consider the type of entertainment it is. In this excerpt, Greenwood, 2010, for example, investigated the impact of gender and mood state, happy versus sad, on choosing between films from different genres. First, participants had to write about a happy or sad life event in order to introduce the corresponding mood in these participants. Then, participants were asked to indicate which type of film they wish to see right now by using closed and open questions. The questionnaire required a choice between some happy film genres, example, romantic comedy, dark comedy, some sad film genres, example, social drama, romantic drama, action, adventure movies, and suspenseful movies, i.e. thriller. Results showed that, independent from induced mood, female participants preferred romantic genres, example, romantic comedy, romantic drama, whereas male participants preferred action-adventure movies and suspenseful films. Further results showed that men, in stark contrast to women, have a preference for programs with violent or sexual content. For example, Blanchard, 1986, presented their participants violent material from different sources of genres, i.e. from a spy movie, a war movie, a western movie, and a cartoon. When interviewed afterwards, male participants reported more pleasure from viewing the violent films than the female participants. A stronger male than female preference was also found for horror movies that typically contain frightening and violent scenes. And they do list the sources here. And this could all come down to biology, and I'm sorry if this is triggering. I don't know why it would be, but the inherent gender roles that men and women tend to play based on their biology. Men have way more testosterone than females. Why? Well, in PubMed, the review on testosterone reproductive effort in male primates discusses how the hormone testosterone plays a role in the behavior of male vertebrates, particularly in terms of mating competition. The challenge hypothesis suggests that changes in testosterone levels are more related to aggressive mating competition than reproductive functions. The evidence comes from observation in various wild primates, and just in case there are people who don't know, human beings are primates. They are apes. It explains that in both seasonal and non-seasonal breeding species, males produce more testosterone when competing for fertile females. In species where males are competing for long-term access to females, their testosterone increases when they are at risk of losing that access. High-ranking males, especially in unstable dominance hierarchies, generally have higher testosterone levels. In many primates, the balance between parenting and mating efforts appears to be limited, with few engaging in direct care for offspring. Instead, paternal, or the father's role of investment, often involves protecting the babies, and this protection is not affected by testosterone. This hormone, though, has different effects in primates, aiding male competitive behavior through psychological impacts, providing pain relief, and influencing the development of traits used in mating competition. So, from an evolutionary perspective, testosterone is linked to behaviors associated with competition, dominance, and aggression. From an evolutionary standpoint, men may have evolved to be more physically competitive given historical roles in hunting and protecting their group and their women and children. This is probably why they're more interested in action-packed competitive scenarios, which are often depicted in action movies. This means that they can relate to this because it speaks to them on a biological level. Testosterone also affects the brain, influencing neural circuits related to aggression and risk-taking behavior. This tends to make men more inclined to enjoy the excitement and intensity that's often present in these action films. Now, of course, while culture and societal expectations also play a part in shaping gender roles and preferences, it's very clear from observing cultures all over the world, not to mention other mammals, that the male counterparts, and not just mammals too, like various animals, male counterparts inherently are more competitive and are more risk takers in general. Obviously, I know because I'm already feeling people's fingers going, not all men share the same preferences. I get it. And many women also enjoy action movies and elements of violence too. Yes, I know. Me, for example, I grew up as a tomboy, and I still consider myself one because most of what I'm interested in or how I live my life seems to skew more towards entertainment that is usually geared towards guys. But yes, I am aware individual differences, personal experiences, cultural factors do play a significant role in shaping people's preferences. However, there are stereotypes sometimes for a reason. We now exist in a society where women can basically do anything men want to do. But yet as women do not tend to take jobs that are very, very dangerous or very smelly or risky. Those jobs are there, and there are women in these jobs, yes, but the ratio is still skewed towards men because men naturally are more inclined to be risk takers. It's not that they want to be smelly or go up and do something that's dangerous, but that is in them to be a bit more brave when it comes to that. You're not going to see as many women going up there and cleaning skyscrapers that are basically touching the clouds, or working on high voltage systems, or combing through sewers, or being garbage men. The same women who claim that they want to push for total equality also freak out at the notion of being drafted. It's okay that we're built different and that we like different things, but there are stereotypes, again, based on what we like and how we are built in general. I just had to put that out there before people are like, well, I don't like this. I know, but generally, people of your sex tend to. Ergo, the reason why you'd probably mostly see male superheroes is because superhero and high-octane movies are geared towards guys, and even though men can relate to women characters, the struggles between men and women are different. The majority of superhero stories typically highlight the challenges men face before acquiring their superpowers. To resonate with male audiences, these films might portray a man experiencing emasculation, or struggling to provide for his family, or facing relationship issues. A narrative that specifically connects with the male side of the perspective. Men naturally have it in them to want to be physically strong and be able to fight off opponents that try to hurt their family. Women do too. Don't get upset, I'm aware of that. Trust me, if anyone touches the people I love, I am not afraid to catch a case. I don't even think about it. I act first and think later. I'm not the kind of person who's gonna send my husband out to go check on something and be like, go check on what that is. The fuck? No, we're going together. I'm taking the 12 gauge, you take the 45, and we go together. To hell with that. But that provider heading straight into danger mechanism is more so built into men than women. So, all of that to say, it's logical to observe a greater emphasis on male characters in superhero movies than females. It is what it is, and I don't think it's that big of a deal. I didn't think it would ever be something that females would be threatened by. I don't even see the majority of females having a problem with this. Like, most normal females don't have a problem with this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that there shouldn't be any super women, but they're taking a franchise that was already balanced or had enough female representation, and now studios are hijacking that franchise like they've done with many, and allegedly changing it to specifically focus on females when that's not what it was about. Why bother rebooting it then? Do these studios ever consider also that us women that do like these franchises, like watching the men in them? Like, level with me right now. How many of you girls in the comments have watched male superhero movies and had a crush on the superheroes and idolized them, not only for their character growth, but because they're hot? There are some women who would not watch superhero movies for the action, but for the person who's playing the superhero. You know how many women all of a sudden decided that they really liked Superman after Henry Cavill was casted in it? Or really liked Spider-Man because Tom Holland was cast in it? Besides, in romantic genres, more often than not, as I've mentioned in another video, most women fantasize of a strong dude in a place of power, whether it be a vampire, a werewolf, a killer, a rich don, an arrogant player who's super hot, coming in, saving them, and then as the woman imagining themselves as the main character and changing the man who's in the state of power and changing him to make him fall in love with her, and she's the one he ends up falling for and forgoes all other women, which is so fucking unrealistic. But we get it, it's fantasy. I know people get sick and tired of seeing genres like this littered with the same type of thing, but it's because the majority of women consume that type of entertainment. It sells for a reason. So it confuses me why people would start to change the romantic genre that has been selling to women for so long that men happen to enjoy too, and vice versa with male-targeted entertainment. You know, what's that saying that our grandparents would tell us? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Which, at first I admit, doesn't make any freaking sense. But I guess it's a cheeky way of saying don't mess with it if it's not broken or try to change it. I love progress, especially when it comes to technological, scientific, and medicinal stuff. However, there are certain things that have worked very well for many years at their core and structure that really don't need to be changed all that much, especially if they're still working. It's like buying hair gel or a hair product that has been around since your grandparents' times, and they've been selling consistently off the shelves, and then for some reason, because I guess they want to cut costs and whatever the reason is, they're like, you know what, we don't like money anymore, because even if we're still making a ton of money, we can change the price, we can increase the price so we get more money. They change an ingredient and then people's hair starts falling out or they break out or something. You know how annoying that is? And then every single time they do that, they either have to revert back because they're not selling anymore, or the company goes under because people start talking about how bad the brand has fallen off, and they keep pushing through, expecting people to buy the product that's less quality but that's now double the price. It's like these studios are trying on purpose to capsize their ship, and I don't know to what end. That's what's really baffling me. I know everybody's tastes are different, but me personally, I'm not interested in seeing anything Marvel has to put out here on after to begin with. But even if I was gonna give the Fantastic Four or X-Men reboot or any other DC stuff a try, if stuff like this, if this rumor turns out to be true and this is the direction they're heading in, count me out. You've already lost me, and I'm a woman. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.